Let's start. The man enters the back door to the home, yet no one hears him as all are asleep but him. He watches as the two boys lie asleep on the couch. The boys aged 10 and 7 would not be much of a fight to him, yet he pays them no mind. He makes his way upstairs and sees his purpose. He looks at the beautiful woman in her bed, her body lean and fit, yet her body barely hidden in her nightgown, her legs smooth to the touch. Her blonde hair and lightly tanned skin would drive most men and women insane from her beauty. He sees how helpless and vulnerable she is. It would be so easy to take her now. He closes the door so that he will not be interrupted. None shall hear what happens behind the door behind him. He walks towards his victim and invades the space of her bed as she lay there unaware of what is about to happen to her. Or so he thinks. Hey, handsome. Karen feels the lips of Todd as he lightly kisses his wife. Hey, beautiful. Sorry if I woke you, but you just looked so beautiful laying in bed like that. I couldn't resist. Karen then turns to face her husband and embraces him in a hold and enthusiastic kiss before she speaks, a seductive smile forming on her face. Well, if you don't mind, good show. Could you show me how much you appreciate this body of mine, and let me show you how much I appreciate you? Todd didn't need any further instructions as he kissed Karen's lips, allowing his tongue to dance with hers as High Hand explored her beautiful body. As his clothes disappeared, their passion and lust for each other grew, as they made love through the night. Her moans and screams of pleasure echo throughout the room, as his moans make their own presence known. Both Karen's and Todd's climax sound off in the room, their bodies consumed by the wave of orgasmic pleasure. As they hold each other embracing in their arm, Todd chuckles a little. Karen looks at him with amused confusion. What? What is it? Todd looks at her with a smile. I'm glad I took Tim's advice and insulated our room. Karen turned red in embarrassment, but then she smiled as she playfully hit Todd on his arm. Hey, you had something to do with that, you jerk. Yes, and I would do it again with pride. Both laughed and kissed each other with sensuality. Karen then had a sad smile. I love you, Todd. I want you to know that. I would not be here without. Todd places his finger on her lips before he speaks. This is all you, beautiful. Everything you've been through. Everything you conquered, that was all you. I was just the mascot cheering you on. Karen kissed him again, looking at her wedding band, as if it were her very soul. You are a big part of the reason I'm here. Just take the compliment, big guy. Todd smiled back. Well, how can a guy say no to a request like that? With that, the loving couple embraced each other in their arms. Then, they went to sleep. The next morning, Todd woke up, seeing a beautiful Karen laying in bed, her ruffled nightgown and hair, her face of beauty and serenity. You've been through so much, beautiful. He lightly kisses her forehead. A peaceful moan escapes her lips as she stirs in her sleep. He showers, then makes his way out of the room, leaving another kiss on her head as he leaves. As he makes his way downstairs, he sees the boys Mark and Patrick still asleep on the couch, clearly defeated by the Star Wars marathon last night. He then cooks breakfast for his new family. Karen begins to wake in her bed, the smell of bacon in the air. Making her way downstairs, she sees the cause in the kitchen. Good morning, beautiful. Sleep well last night? A devilish grin forms on Todd's face as she comes to kiss her husband. What do you think? She then makes her way to her boys, still asleep on the couch. Hey, wake you too. Someone is making blueberry pancake, and if you don't hurry, I'm going to eat them all. No, wait, Mom doesn't do that. Yeah, we are awake, no need to do that. The boys grumbled, but made their way to the kitchen. Hey guys, how go it this morning? Todd. Hey, Todd. Both boys rushed to Todd as he embraced them both. Whoa, I didn't know my pancakes were that good. I'm making a following over here. All laughed at the embrace. Todd has been their stepfather for over a year now. It was awkward meeting the boys at first, let alone announcing marrying their mother. Karen shared 50-50 custody with the boy's father, her ex-husband Tim. Despite what she did to him, after her attack, Tim and she rebuilt their friendship and maintain a respect for each other despite no longer being together. Especially Patrick, who was protective of his mother after everything they endured years ago. But as time grew, the boys grew to accept Todd, as well as bond with and in time even love him. Todd really bonded with Patrick to help him with his trauma. For a time, he would get into fights at school when kids teased him about his mother. So, Todd taught him martial arts, not to hurt other kids, but to help him deal with the trauma and anger with what happened. When the family finished their breakfast, Todd embraced his family and left for Andy's office. Karen pulled him back before he left, kissing him passionately. You come back to us, mister. Todd looked back at her without question. Ma'am. Todd makes his way to the instigation office to meet Andy. It has been over a month, yet Andy is still reaping in the rewards due to the scandal. But that is not what Todd is thinking about. In fact, he could care less. It is the connection that those involved with the scandal have, including the woman who caused strife over Robin's investigation's first client. He remembers in the report that he read that the client's soon-to-be ex found her way inside the family home. That troubled him, not to mention the contract killers that nearly took the client and his wife. The cop in him could not help that there was something more to this than just catching cheaters. And he not only had a feeling, but he also knew that whatever this was, it was far from over. As he pulled into the parking lot of the office, he prepared himself for the much-needed meeting with Andy. He had to tell him his concerns. Andy watched Todd's 1967 Chevy Impala pulled into the parking lot. He knew he made the right choice by hiring him as his top field agent. His skills as a state trooper were impeccable, although it did bother him that Todd didn't share too much about his life in Alaska. That information was only shared with his wife Karen, and she of all people was not sharing what her husband shared with her. The way he gathered evidence and information of all involved was amazing and frightening at the same time. However, when Todd called him last night, he remembered how concerned Todd sounded, and that today they would discuss those concerns today. Andy heard the office door open behind him, the smell of a breakfast sandwich meeting his nostrils. You know, as an employee, I must address my concerns on your choice of food. Mind you look like Brad Pitt from the movie Troy, but this shit will kill. Scrapple, eggs, tomatoes, mayo, fried onions in a sandwich. Exactly what do you call this? Andy took the sandwich and bit proudly and smiled at his employee. I call it an orgasm for my taste buds. Now before you criticize me some more about my choice of diet, let's get down to it. You sounded worried last night. That something was off from our job last month. Talk to me, man. What's bugging you? Todd took a breath before he spoke. Okay, we reek some serious creeps and shitbags. I'm not bitching about that. In fact, it could not have happened to a more deserving group of hypocritical shit stains as far as I'm concerned. But there are some things that stand out. One thing, our first client. He changed locks prior to divorcing his wife. Then a few nights later, she comes into her house. I thought she broke in at first, remember? Andy nodded. Yeah, you said you wanted to check it out? That's right. Then we find out that the same guy who changed the locks was one of the guys that screwed her in her orgies and get-togethers with that woman Maxine. Todd nearly spat the name, as he recalled what he observed from her actions while investigating her and her associates. Yeah, I remember that, Todd, but we ended up threatening to sue the locksmith too. But our client decided to settle for $10,000. The guy who had the job fired and prosecuted, and their best locks for free. I thought it would be better to sue them for more, but our guy took pity on them. I was going to make them pay $100 for damages and emotional distress, but Baxter would not have any of it. Why are you mentioning this? Todd looked at his boss and friend. Because that requires pull. I don't care how good the sex is. No guy is going to risk his job and freedom for something that small. Not unless he or someone above him has some pull. I have seen this before. Think about it. A guy screws a married woman not even 24 hours prior before her husband has her locks changed. Then a day or two later, she has a brand new key, and the husband didn't give her permission? When Baxter told me this, to say I was pissed off was an understatement. But I got to admit I like how he thinks. When he didn't want the locks changed, he knew she would come back to humiliate him, but would not endanger their kids. And all the recorded evidence worked out in his favor. Still, I know it is not exactly proof of a megacrime syndicate, but it is a reason to be careful in this field. This is not the only time we are going to deal with this. And if Robin were here, as law enforcement, she would agree. Andy thought about the words that he heard. He could not deny their credibility. Okay, you got a point. We will be more. Both men then heard knock on the door. As Andy answered, the door opened to see Rebecca on the other side of it. I'm sorry for interrupting, guys, but we have a walk-in client here in the office. He looks like he's been through it and want help with an issue. Andy and Todd look at each other and nod. Then Andy responds to Rebecca. Send him in. Meanwhile, 2 miles outside of the Patrick O. Daniel unit in Gatesville, Texas, a lone woman is on top of a hill that has a visual of the prison. The woman is 5'4", a lean athletic build. She is dressed in fatigues that match the terrain. Despite the mask she is wearing, she is beautiful. She set down a body bag she was carrying for a mile down the road and removes the parts of AM-10750 caliber Barrett sniper rifle from the case within, adding the customized compatible air pressure tank to its compartment. She then aims the rifle at a certain part of the prison wall 2 miles down, her sniper scope opposite the sun's light, hiding its glare from any witnesses. Once situated, she waits until the clock reaches its set time. The custom slicer muffles the explosion from the rifle that can stop a tank. Once fired, she quickly yet calmly takes apart her weapon and puts it away piece by piece. She takes off her outfit, then put on one that makes her look like a regular hiker, eventually making her way to her vehicle, a Jeep Cherokee. In the prison, an inmate is awoken by the sound of a sledgehammer on a wall. As she sees the dust, she complains to her neighbor in the next cell. "What the hell, Maxine? It's too early for this shit." There is no answer. "I know you hear me, you stupid bitch. Answer me." Still no answer. The guards from the control center notice what is smoke or a lot of dust coming from Maxine's cell. One of them decides to investigate. When she arrives at the scene, the sight is so graphic and brutal she throws up. What was once Maxine's head was now only brain matter and her spinal cord. She recovers and speaks into the microphone. "We have an inmate down in the O'Daniel unit. I need immediate medical response." Back in Austin, a man steps inside of Andy's office. He is 5'8", with a slight gut with an average build. He is of German-American descent. He walks in with a defeated look on his face. His business attire looks as if he had slept in his clothes. "I saw your ad online. I believe my wife is cheating on me." "No. She is." The man looked down in defeat as Andy led him to a chair. "I'm sorry. May me or my associate get you anything? Maybe a soda?" The man gave a sad smile as he looked down to the floor. "You got a Coke?" Todd gave Andy the red soda can. The man took the beverage and drank. The cold, refreshing taste gave him a slight moment of comfort before reality set upon him again. He then looked up at the two of them. "My is Jason Wynn. I work at an executive office downtown. Nobody special, just does my job, helping people find contracts and make them legit. That and other mundane paperwork for a company that could give a shit about me. I have been married to my beautiful wife Linda for 15 years. We met when I left college at 21. She was 19. Looking back on it now, I guess I should have known better. Anyway, when we first met, it was like love at first sight. She worked at a local mom and pop shop downtown. She was, and still is, a beautiful woman. She could get any man she wanted, but he chooses me. Not going to lie, it felt good, being that I usually was ghosted and avoided entirely. God, the sex was amazing. That woman was insatiable in bed, or wherever for that matter. But it was not just her lust, but her heart, her kindness that not just brought me to her, but kept her for so long. After 7 months of dating, we moved in together. And a few months after that, we were married. Soon after we had our first child, Nicole. My daughter is 13 years old, our miracle baby. It almost cost Linda her life, but both made it. And for all these years, we were a loving and supportive family. Linda is a member of the PTA and a well-known member of our community's Actives and Functions Union and Homemaker. My daughter is among the smartest and brightest minds this school district has seen in years. In fact, she is what you call a genius. She may end up graduating high school in a year or two, despite being only 13. I love and am proud of my family so much, sir, which is why this hurts so much. The man paused before he continued, feeling the emotion build within him, but blocked it so he could continue. My wife and I have an active sex life, gentlemen. In her 30s, she is even more insatiable in her lust, and I loved every moment of it. I even screwed up her before coming here. Of course, it was after the session I noticed. We had just finished having sex. I was still recovering from my performance when I noticed something on her phone, another man's name on her phone screen. But it wasn't just the man's name. It was what the text message said before she deleted it. I suppose she thought I would not know, but I remember the message as clear as day. It said, "Yesterday was amazing. I can't wait to see you again." All the men in the room were silent. I was crushed when I saw that, but I knew I needed to hide my reaction. Jason paused before he continued. "Look, I want to believe this is a misunderstanding. I want to believe this is some coworker thanking her for a favor or something. But I must know the truth, no matter what it may be. And I know I cannot do this alone. I heard what you did for Baxter, how you made not just his wife, but everyone paid for what they put him through. I also heard about what you did years ago. You were a large part of why many sick scum sucker got locked up and many missing girls came home to families. But this isn't about revenge. It is about truth, and I need to know this. Can you help me? Please, money is not an issue." Andy looked at Todd, who gave a nod, signaling that he could help with his services. "Let's talk about fees and services, sir." Elsewhere, Robin is at the death house for female inmate in the state of Texas. Robin was a beautiful woman despite the loss of her left eye in the line of duty. She was more than capable with her skills in both combat and gunplay. Standing at 5'7" with a lean and athletic build, She wore her signature black eye patch, a dark blue scope crosshair in its center, a dark gray blazer with a white button-up shirt under it, her black jeans, and tactical high-top shoes. When she got word that Maxine Gullett was killed in her cell, it was not what got her attention. It was the fact that her head was blown off by a high-powered .50 caliber sniper rifle. The bullet round was found on the wall of the other side of the prison, after passing through another wall that eventually slowed it to a stop. She noted the trajectory and location of the bullet and looked at the location of its depth. She looked at the hold the bullet entered. It was at the head of the bed, exactly where Maxine laid her head every night. About 30 minutes before she usually woke up, and the bullet didn't hit a single person. Where does this go to? Robin asked the warden. It goes to nowhere, just a bunch of land and hills. Robin interrupted, but the warden understood. Let's get some people outside and check out the next 5 miles east of the O'Neill wing. Once outside, they found something 2 miles out. It was a shell casing of a .50 caliber bullet. Robin looked at the object in her gloved hand as she made the call, and waited for the response as the dial sounded. She didn't wait long. Xavier. Captain Xavier Davis was a legend of the Texas Rangers. A black man standing above 6 feet, with a strong and athletic build. And despite his age, he has more than enough experience and skill to lock up and put down many a criminal. His service in Vietnam, as well as over 30 years in law enforcement, are a testament to that. Cap, I found something. It involved that case I had a month ago with the Davises. The woman who organized this has been killed, but it was how she was killed. Whoever did this did so with a .50 caliber rifle, a minimum of 2 miles away from the prison she was held in, shot through the wall into her bed as she was asleep, while not hitting anyone else. Cap, whoever did this not just knew what they were doing but had deep intel of the prison. There was a pause. Robin, give me anything you can find on this. List of enemies, friends, and associates. But before that, we need to investigate the staff that work there. Strat with bank statements and rumors of sudden wealth. This shooter did anything but work by themselves. They knew when and where Maxine would be at that specific time. Keep this between us for now. All paperwork will be at Dino's for now. In fact, that will be the HQ. Robin noted her mentor's slight stress in his voice. Cap, you think this is like before? Xavier paused before he spoke. No, Robin. I got a bad feeling it is going to be worse. Back at the office, Andy had all the signatures he needed from Jason, giving him the right to have his home accessed and recorded. Now remember, we will not tell you where the cameras are hidden. For not just your legal benefit, but your safety. And based on your records, your home is in your name from your father's will, and your name alone. And that was before you were married. So, in the event of a divorce, that house will remain yours. And you have every right to have what happens in it recorded. In the event you wish to change locks or for that matter proceed with divorce, call our office and we will aid you to the best of our ability. A small smile came across Jason's face. A hint of hope. Andy then took him by the shoulders. Hey, whatever the outcome, Jason, we will be right beside you. Jason then shook his hand and embraced him in a hug. Thank you. Thank you so much for this. For the first time since he found what he did, he feels hope. Regardless of what happens, he will find strength and support. As he leaves, Andy turns to Todd. You got this? Do you really have to ask? I'll show up as a repairman. Put recording devices in both cars and areas of the house since they are all in his name. Both audio and video will be clear as crystal. But seriously, I want you to think about what we talked about earlier. No bullshit, okay? Andy smiled at his friend's concern. Okay, Mom, I promise to be careful. Todd gave a slightly strong hit on his Andy's shoulder. Okay, smartest, I got your mom, you jerk. Both friends laughed, but Andy spoke. Todd, I trust your judgment and character. It's not just why I hired you, but call you friend. I promise to keep my eyes open. Okay? Todd smiled back. That's all I ask. All right, I'm off. Time to earn the right to pay my bills. The friends smiled and hugged each other before Todd parted to gather supplies and information. Jason made all required payments, including one for a paternity test. That one hurt Jason to hear, but Andy in his professional decorum advised him the reason why this mattered. And Jason eventually agreed. As Andy continued his work, he could not help but consider Todd's words. The more he thought about this, the more he wanted to make sure he and his family were safe, just to be sure. Jason made his way home, intending to follow the advice of Andy. He was told to keep an eye on his accounts and take out funds to make separate account if the time came. He also advised him to talk to the bank managers and make it so that no large sums could be taken out without his authority and that he should be notified. Jason acted as though he was a robot, preparing, just automatic rather than human. His emotions turned low if not off. When he came home, It no longer felt like home. It was as if he were in a strange landscape with stranger he knew all his life. As much as he wanted to believe this was all in his head, a part of him knew it was not, and that his marriage will change forever whether he likes it or not. As he was thinking, he saw his daughter Nicole come down the stairs. "Dad, you're home." Nicole gave her father a warm hug, and he hugged her back. When she looked up, he noticed his eyes looked red. "Dad, are you all right? It looks like you have been crying. What's wrong?" Jason could not deny how sharp his daughter was. It only made sense. She would be graduating before she was 16 after all. She was expecting to be the next mind for NASA, the next Stephen Hawkins. "I'm sorry, baby. Just been a grueling day is all. I'll be okay, honey, I promise." "Hey, you up for your favorite ice cream spot?" Despite her intelligence and maturity, Nicole was still a child. Yes, to banana splits with hot chocolate and almonds. As he saw his daughter celebrate, he could not help but feel guilty. Her world, as she knows, is going to end. They are about to leave when there is a knock on the door. Before he leaves, he sees his wife come from downstairs, dressed for business, despite it being her day off supposedly. "Honey? Oh, how are you?" Linda kisses Jason, and Jason puts on the act of affection as she kisses him. "I thought you were off tonight." Jason asked. "Sorry, honey. Last-minute meeting with the higher-ups at the office. Emergency meeting at the committee for the after-school programs." Jason called bullshit, but he kept it to himself. He knew about the plan to work. He had to play the part of the dumb no-clue having husband. Still, he could not help but see how beautiful Linda was. Her lean and fit figure, her white skin and blonde hair and blue eyes. The look of a supermodel, with the heart of gold. At least that is what he thought until earlier today. "I understand, honey. Go get them, okay?" Linda kissed him with a look of seduction. "I'll be getting you later, handsome." Shun then hugged her daughter and made her way out. Jason could not help but wonder, was she acting the whole time? Later that evening, Karen was preparing dinner for the boys and Todd when he came home. As she is prepping the boys' favorite, fried pork chops, mashed potatoes and butter, and broccoli and cheese, she thinks how far she came. It has been 2 years since everything changed after all. When she cheated on her then husband Tim, constantly. And instead of holding herself accountable, she just dug a deeper hole. A hole that nearly took everything from her. Her dignity, reputation, and her very life. While endangering her family. She still remembers that day when Tim saved both her and Patrick from those horrible people, those who assaulted her violently and constantly. Only for one of them to strangle her from behind as he was still screwing her. He was still assaulting her as she gave her last breath with the belt tied around her neck. As her baby, Patrick was in the room across fighting and screaming for his mommy. A chill creeps up in her spine as she recalls the memory. She was brought back to life when Tim saved her, and he butchered all involved who dared harm his family. When it was over, she agreed to the divorce terms before Tim or Andy could say anything, so that she could seek help. And for 1.5 years she had done just that, finding the demons in her that made her choose this path, confronting hard truth she thought she would take to the grave. Yet she faced them with the aid of the specialist who was there for her, in her facility in Alaska, which itself was hidden in an abandoned but reused military base, hidden in a valley. It was then at that time she found him, her second chance. She smiles as she covers and shakes the seasoned flour on the pork chops as the cooking oil warms in the pan. She was there for a few months at that point. She was jogging in the area when she saw him fishing. She noticed how peaceful he appeared. Yet his body was solid and hard. Not just by physical attraction, but hard in the sense that he had seen so much that made him so. She felt the kindred spurt within him. She recalled when he spoke. "You know, if you keep staring like that, the wildlife may consider you a stalker and call the cops." It surprised her when she laughed at his words. Thus began a conversation, which would build into more meetings and greetings, and even running and training together. He would even aid her in hand-to-hand combat and firearm training, which with what Robin taught, excelled her skill even more. It was not just to train her, but to aid her by giving her the strength to confront her demons. Eventually, a bond of friendship between both began to form, as did trust and respect, until eventually more would when they started dated. As time went on, feelings for each other would grow, until eventually, as their love for each other, they soon became intimate. When she laid with him, she thought she would feel shame and guilt and even fear from what she'd done and been through. But with her therapy and his support, their first night together was filled with lust and passion. He made love to her as if she were his long-lost love, yet screwed her as if she were his personal hooker, and she loved every minute of it with no shame. She then shared more of what she endured, the things she had not shared in the past months they known each other. How she cheated on the man that she loved constantly, even had sex tapes, while not realizing they were a part of an illegal sex ring that ruined the lives of countless women. And by the time she knew what was going on, she and her family was in danger, as they and her son Patrick would eventually be kidnapped. She told Todd about the girls she met in that house, a student she once taught in school in another life. How they and her were brutally assaulted by the sick bastards. How they used and abused her in every way possible. How little Patrick saw how they hurt her, and he fought as he was in the room across from her, as she was being assaulted and screwed by cruel man from behind. How he pleasured himself while doing so despite her suffering, while she was being strangled to death with a belt cruelly tightened around her neck. She told Todd how Tim found them, brought her back to life, and killed those responsible, in every graphic detail. She didn't know why, but she knew she could trust Todd, that he had his own demons in the hell he endured. She smiled as she watched her boys play outside. A tear came down her face, for there was a time she thought she would never see the sight again. She then thinks back to what Todd told her in Her Alone. Todd was not originally from Alaska, but Chicago, and that Todd McFarlane was not his real name, but it was Max Slate. He told her he was a K-9 police officer in the city for over 10 years, came to the academy straight out of high school. He told her how he wanted to following into his father's footsteps. His father was Navy SEALs during the Vietnam conflict, but he would soon be put in Black Ops after the conflict. An expert in hand-to-hand combat with over 7 forms of combat under his belt, including Krav Maga, karate, judo, taekwondo, boxing, kickboxing, as well as classified martial arts. In time, his father, Marcus Slate, would be disgruntled with the acts his government would have him go through, and the close friends he buried or had to kill. So, he left and made his way to Chicago to be a police officer. Despite being in his early 30s, he became a legend with his experience and skill. He then met a waitress named Jackie, who would soon be his wife and mother to Max. Max loved his parent, but idolized his father. He taught him to stand up for himself and others who could not do so, and bully the bullies when necessary. And from a youthful age, he taught Max everything he knew in combat and was anything but light and easy on him. Many a time Max had to wear long sleeves to school to avoid weird stare from kids and teachers. His father always asked him if he wanted to stop, but Max was as stubborn as his old man and would never give up. His father could not help but feel love and pride for his son. When he graduated, Max immediately applied for the Chicago Police Academy. With what his father taught him, he flourished and was top of his class. When he graduated from the academy, it was the greatest day of his life. In time, Max would prove to be one of the best police officers the city had seen in years. He would run into danger so that others would be safe, except for the ones causing the danger, and he would show them that he was the actual danger. Some found out via ambulance, others found out via body bag. But he was also fair and honest, something his father taught him not just to be a good cop, but a good man. To have a code of honor and ethics. To treat people with respect while defending those who would do harm. In his 5th year, he would be assigned as his new partner, a German shepherd named Midnight. He was deemed unpredictable and untrainable and was set for termination, but Max saved him and took him in. It was a struggle, but in time the two of them would be a formidable force against crime. In his 10-year career of solving crimes, stopping serial killers, taking on street, Russian mobsters, outfit members, other criminal organizations, shutting down drug and sex trade rings, he had 4 awards, including the Medal of Valor due to his exceptional bravery and kill despite risking high life to save others. It was when he was in his late 20s that it all changed. His parents had been murdered and gunned down in their home. His father was then set up to be a part of a criminal organization. Not only would Max be framed for his parent murder, in an instant he went from being the city's hero to a disgraced cop who turned criminal. But Max did not go down without a fight. He would discover that his father was closing in on a conspiracy that connected the city's, state, and government officials. Max escaped capture and murder attempts that resulted in many mobsters, mercenaries, gang members dying in the streets of Chicago that night, all wanting the reward for his capture or death. When it was over, corrupt officials were dead, including the mayor, a U.S. senator, FBI agent and Chicago Police Captain Richard Strickland, and a good portion of Chicago PD and SWAT. The finale battle took place in an old car plant. The shootout was brutal, leaving Max wounded, despite the wounds. All the corrupted cops who aided Richard were dead, leaving only Richard. In a brief gun battle, it was soon reduced to fist to cuffs. Max's wound gave him a disadvantage. The fight was brutal, with both sides giving their all to causing the other pain, and Strickland was winning. But in the end, Max prevailed by impaling Strickland in his cheeks with a 6-foot pipe with a sharp edge at its tip. Eventually, all evidence cleared Max, but the scandal and smear was too much for Max. After turning over evidence, including a rare Medal of Valor and a reward of $1 million from the FBI due to the agents Max saved and stopping a corrupt agent from their ranks, from selling secrets to enemies to the United States for profit, actions which resulted in the agent's death as well. Despite all of this, he had his name changed. He wanted nothing to do with the past. How one day he was Chicago's finest. Now it's Priya. He found his way to Alaska, became a state trooper at midnight. In time he would meet Karen, and the rest is history. Just as he was there for Karen when she regains herself after what happened, she was there for him when he had to put midnight to sleep. All those years of fighting crime began to catch up with him. In time he got cancer, and there was no treatment to aid him. The whole thing broke Max's heart to see his brother endure pain this way, but he knew he had to end his pain. Despite all he faced, this broke him. But Karen was there to pick up the pieces. They aided each other in their darkest hours. He was a large reason she was able to find herself again, to embrace herself again and not be so controlled by urge alone, to love sincerely and cherish love of self and respect. She was a large reason that he may cope with the loss of his family and career, to reminded him that what the ones who are unworthy do nothing to those many he helped and aided. That his parents and partner Midnight would be proud of the man he is today. And in each other, they not only found love, trust, and respect. Karen had just finished putting the fired pork chops in the bowl. Alongside of the mashed potatoes and broccoli, she calls out to her boys, "Hey guys, dinner's ready." With that, the boys come rushing inside. Karen gave a silent thank you to Tim for allowing her to have the boys for every other week. As she set the table, she suddenly felt hands around her, jumping out of her skin, only to hear her husband's voice. "Jesus, woman, who got you jumpy like that? I keep telling you to leave that coffee alone." As Karen gathered her thoughts, she then hit Todd on his side. "You jerk. You scared the hell out of me, you know that?" Todd just smiled. "I mean, that was kind of the point." The two kissed, but as they moved away, Todd noticed her sad smile. "Hey, it is only a week, baby. The boys will be back with us in no time. They stay with Tim 1 week, you have them another." Karen began to cry, yet her smile widened. "It's not that, well, not completely anyway, but it is a fact I have them in my life at all. Todd, I shouldn't be here. Our boys should not be coming into our house to eat dinner with us. You should not be my loving husband. And my ex and his wife of all people should not only be civil, but be among those whom I call friend. They even allowed us to attend their wedding and attend our own wedding in return. I still remember Janine's beautiful speech for us, baby. Hell, I should not even be alive. All because of the stupid shit I did years ago. And yet all these things and more I have. Max, I love you so much. I squandered that once upon a time. I will not do that again. I have a second chance at this. I'm not going to screw it up. You don't try to be Tim with the boys, nor try to make them call you dad, yet they love you all the same. Thank you for all you are, and what you brought back into my life, my love." With that, Todd just kissed her and looked into her eyes with a smile. "Anytime, beautiful." As soon as their lips left each other, Mark and Patrick stormed inside. The dirt and mud of their game of football with the neighboring kids evident on their clothes. Todd. "Whoa, where did you come from?" Both boys rushed to him and tackled him to the ground. Karen watched the sight with a smile, thankful to see the family she thought lost to her. She knew Todd could never replace Tim, but not only was that okay, but it was truly a blessing that was for the best. For she knew that there were 4 people in this world that would do anything to protect and love those boys, including giving up their own lives, or taking others, with extreme prejudice. Yes, she would kill for them, she thought to herself, as would the other 3. Hell, each of them alone would make an entire graveyard full of those stupid enough to harm their family. And with what she learned these past few years, from Robin and Todd, she was more than capable. But for now, she just sat and smiled at the sight in front of her. The boys wrestling with Todd. She closes her eyes, allowing a single tear to fall, speaking a single word to God, whom she once mocked but is now humble, "Thank you." Elsewhere, a lone man leaves a convenience store with a bag of chips in hand. He is overweight, standing at 5'9". He is about to get into his car when his phone goes off. He doesn't recognize the number and answers. "Hello? Your services are no longer required." The last thing the man sees is the phone as the bullet enters his brain. His head no longer present on his body, only the spinal cord where it once was. The next morning, Jason wakes up with quiet determination. He looks over to his side and sees his wife has not come home yet. Looking at his phone, he sees a text that came around 1 in the morning. Sorry, baby. Our meeting took longer than expected. I will see you in the morning. I love you. He looks at the words in the screen and wonders to himself, does she even means it at this point? Or is it just routine now? But he remembers what Andy told him. Act normal as can be. And with a sigh he responds, Hey, I just got the message. Thank you for letting me know. I'll take Nicole to school before I head into work today. Just come home safe and sound, baby. Love you. He then steels himself. He knows at some point last night, cameras and recording devices were set up. He just did not know where. Andy and Todd would begin their investigation. But then came the hard part. Before he got ready for work, he headed to his daughter's room. His daughter was a heavy sleeper when she had ice cream. He took advantage of that. He then took out a cotton swab and swabbed both the insides of her cheek, then placed the cotton swab in a small container provided by Andy yesterday. He also took a single piece of hair from her brush and put that in a separate container as well. Despite the task, it felt as if he were lifting Thor's hammer. It was so heavy on his soul. He will take the results to the address listed. Andy advised him they are expecting him, and the results would be done in a week. That time would be used to follow and track Linda's behavior. He dreaded the thought of what he may find, but he could not ignore it any longer, and it had to be expected what he found was going to destroy his marriage. He then began his routine and got his daughter ready for school. They had such a strong bond. Her mother was not cruel and even loved her, but she never took the time to bond and build with Nicole like Jason did. She was truly a daddy's girl, and he loved her so much as she loved her father. And the thought of all the possible revelations being dumped on her broke his heart. Okay, Dad, I'm ready to go. He smiled at his little girl. Okay, honey, let's go. As he drives to the school and drops her off, he hugs his daughter tightly. I love you so much, baby, and I'm so proud of you. It was moments like this that made Nicole's heart glow. It made her feel like she could conquer the world. Thank you, Daddy. I love you too. As he watches her go inside the building, he begins with what he must do to find out the truth about his marriage. Elsewhere, Robin wakes up. It was late in the morning when Robin wakes up. As she opens her eyes, she feels the loving lips of her husband Andy on her forehead. Good morning, sleepyhead. You came in late last night. You're not having a lover on the side with me, are you? Robin was slightly taken aback, but remembers Andy's dark humor. She knew he would never accuse her of something like that. They loved and trusted each other. But she also had a dark sense of humor as well. In her sleepy yet seductive voice, she spoke to Andy. You know what? You got me. I got a young thing too. She said she was talented with her mouth. Said that there was no way you could beat her. Andy suddenly took her hands to the top of the bed as he got on top of her, surprising her with his speed and strength. And she loved every second of it. Andy then brings his face to hers. Is that right? Andy asks with a devilish smile. Then he strongly kisses her, then works his way down her body with soft kisses. Then began their lovemaking. When it is over, she lays in his arms as he asks, What happened last night, baby? I got your call saying that you would be late. But when you did, you were like the walking dead, even after your shower. You just feel out in bed. Robin took a breath. I'm sorry, baby. It's just that yesterday we had to deal with a murder. Not just any murder, but the one who was killed was Maxine Gullett. The same one who ruined that marriage with your client, Baxter. Andy was stunned at the revelation. Wait, what? How? When? Sensing the tension, she placed her hand on his chest. 1. What? Murdered in her cell. 2. The how? Sorry, baby, I can't share that part. When? Some point in the past 32 hours. Now for the part you were thinking about, and I don't blame you because you are sweet. I promise I'll be okay. This is not my first time. And before you say it, yes, more the reason to be careful. And I promise you, my loving husband, I will. Andy took her in for an enthusiastic kiss. You jerk, how can I top a speech like that? Robin smiled. Well, I know something you can get on top of, all right. Both smiled as Andy maneuvered Robin to be under him. They were about to have another session when Robin's phone went off. No. Robin gave an exaggerated pout. Andy could not help but laugh lightly despite his frustration. Robin then took the phone. Hello? No, I'm fine, you're not interrupting anything at all. An irritated Robin says, only to be smacked lightly on her exposed butt cheek. Surprised, she mouths out the word, stop, despite the fact she did not want him to. She then listened further. Yeah, I remember. Wait, what? Yeah, I'm on my way, Captain. A look of concern comes to Andy's face. What is it? Robin dresses in front of him, a sight he usually enjoys. But he saw the look in her eye. Something was wrong. There has been another murder. This one is 30 minutes south of Austin. Same exact way. Whatever this is, it's connected. Andy watches this beautiful driven woman put on her clothes, then gathers her gear and weapon as if she were in a speedway pit stop, fast and efficient. I'm sorry, baby, but I'm going to have to hold out on our session for now. She is about to leave the home when she is suddenly stopped and pulled back by Andy, just in a pair of pants and a tank top. He kisses her deeply, and she returns the kiss in kind. He then breaks it off and speaks. You come back to me, Ranger. That's an order. She smiles at him and hugs him. I promise, my love, you're not getting rid of me that easy. With that, she gets into her car and drives off to meet her captain. Todd is following Linda, who just made it home. He set up all the surveillance equipment, including video cameras and audio microphones that were placed all over the home, hidden well. He knows that Jason and his daughter are not home for the day due to school and work. The place is all hers, and he knew if she were going to act on something, it would be now. He watched and waited in a car down the street, where he could not be seen, but could see everyone going into the house. It was not even 15 minutes before his system picked up something. He saw that she was in the family room, enjoying a glass of juice. Her position on the committee had become significant, even gave her a salary at some point, but something told him he was getting something more. He then heard her speak. Hey you, I just want to say, last night was amazing. Huh. No, he doesn't know a thing. Look, we talked about this. I'm not ready to leave him yet. He is my safety net. You screw my brains out, quite well I will add. But not yet, okay? When Nicole graduates from high school, then we can leave together. And I'll take that useful idiot for everything he has, or at least half. Plus, you keep him at work anyway. It's not like he is going to tell his boss no. Todd thought to himself, supervisor, huh? That is some useful info, thanks Linda. He then went back to the conversation. Tell you what, baby, why don't we meet up later? Where? At our usual spot, you goof, the Billy Bob Drive-In. No one goes there anymore anyway since it was shut down years ago. Our little secret. Yeah? Oh. You bad boy, I can feel you already. All right, lover boy, I'll see you later. Todd watches and listens as Linda had just finished her conversation, then looks and answers the phone. Hey sweetie, how was work? Oh yeah? Okay. Listen baby, I'm sorry I couldn't come home last night. They kept me at the office a bit longer. Also, I have some unwelcome news. I may have to leave for work earlier than expected for another project. Yes, baby, I know it's Nicole's presentation today, but I promise I'll make up for it, okay? Look, damn it, I have more responsibility now. I'm sorry if that is too much for you to handle. Just wait, what? Oh, for God's sakes, don't be like that, Jason. There is nothing wrong between us. We just both have a lot on our plates. Okay. All right, honey. I love you too. Linda then hangs up the phone and looks at it with disgust, giving it a cruel smile. You pathetic idiot. Todd watches as the wife who claims to love her husband just prepared her next meeting with her affair partner, then bluntly lies to her husband, then insult and mock him without him knowing. Todd then saw she was going to her bathroom. It was cloudy, and there were only a few neighbors in the area, not close enough to know what was happening. He then got out of his car and made his way to her car, technically Jason's car. He then quickly yet expertly placed the hidden cameras, microphones, and tracker inside the vehicle. All equipment would be completely undetectable. He then made his way back to his car and headed to Andy's office. Time to give boss man the sad goods. Elsewhere, a beautiful woman steps out of the shower. She is in her early 30s, but looks as if she is in her 20s. Her body is seductive, yet fit and lean. She dries off her body, her skin now pale, but her eyes as blue as the sky. She dries her raven-like hair, the tattoo of the Grim Reaper smiling at the little angel on her shoulder blade. Once she is finished, she makes her way to the room and sees the young couple asleep in bed. As she gets dressed, she glances at them, biting her lower lip, as she recalls the night before. It has been ages since I had such enthusiastic lovers. Youth still have a purpose, it seems. She looks at the man and woman, stuck in their slumber as she gathers the rest of her things. She then makes her way to them, kissing them both on their forehead, smelling their scent and taking them in. Oh my God, I can still feel and taste you both. I hope our paths cross again. She then leaves the room and the lovers in bed. As she gets in her Jeep and drives off the lot, her phone turns on and she answers. Yes, my lady? Yes, I'm working on the grocery list now. The eggs and chips are handled. However, is it all right I have my drink now? A look of irritation is seen on her face as she is told no. Wanting her chance to engage Robin, but not yet. Suddenly she smiles. You want the milk instead? Yes, of course, that should not be a problem. I will talk to you later then. The woman hangs up the phone, a smile stretching from her ear to ear. Oh, finally. I may not get my rock off per se, but I can begin the foreplay, my lovely dear. The woman smiles, then licks a photo of Texas Ranger Robin Robbins with her husband Andy Robbins. She then tosses it in the back, next to the bag where she holds her .50 caliber sniper rifles, singing the song You Look So Fine by the band Garbage. Robin, along with her captain, look over the latest victim found in a parking lot. Victim is the same as Maxine, except now he is in the open. We got anything on him? Captain looks at Robin before he answers. Yeah, we do. Wallen Jones. Turns out this guy worked at the same women's prison as Maxine was spending her sentence. Want to take a guess where he was stationed? Robin closed her eye as she got up from her knee after looking at the body. No need. I'm willing to bet he worked her unit. He must have told the shooter where she would be and at what time she would be where she was. The problem is, he could not have done it alone. He would need help. Someone to keep her in bed without being physical. Someone the shooter never knew about, because we would have 3 bodies by now and not just 2. Now records and footage show it is not a guard. 1, because it is only him in that unit every day at that time. Also, he never went into her cell. But he is not the only person allowed in that unit. Captain Xavier looked intrigued and watches as Robin pulls out a picture of a beautiful young woman. She is Puerto Rican, mid to late 20s. Average build, with shoulder-length black hair, with a light tan color skin complexion. This is Carmen Hernandez, sentenced to 5 years for assault. She is up for release next month. The thing is, she never caused too many issues while inside. Stayed to herself. Even has someone close waiting for her. Which is why it is odd that someone would want to work in a conspiracy to get Maxine killed. Robin looked at her captain as if reading his mind and vice versa. The captain then responded, well, let's go ask her. Back at the office, Andy and Todd go over what was found, as well as more evidence from the car recording. It turned out Linda picked up her lover in her car, Jason's supervisor, Albert Bosworth. Albert was in his late 20s, but was in essence handed his current position due to his father being the owner and CEO of the company. He has been known to harass and bully other employees. If not that, then mock them in some way, particularly have sex with their partners. Jason was no different. Andy then called Jason over to show them what they found. When he arrived, both he and Todd had somber looks. Jason, why don't you sit down? Jason looked at Andy as he made the offer. He knew 2 things at that point. 1, they found something. 2, it is going to break his heart. Jason took in their looks of genuine remorse and concern. It is all right, guys. This is what I paid for in the end. Thank you for your concern. What did you find? Todd looked at Andy, who then nodded. As that was done, Andy offered Jason a Coca-Cola, which he accepted. Andy then spoke. Jason, for what it's worth, I'm sorry you must see this. We can leave if you want? Jason thought about it. I would appreciate that. Thank you. With that, both Andy and Todd left the room, both giving a hug to Jason before leaving. When they were gone, Jason played the tape. He saw his wife tell her lover how much she enjoyed having sex with him. How Jason is just a safety net until she can take his money when she no longer needs him anymore. He then watches and hears as she then talks to him, after confessing to making him a cuck. He then looks at the car footage. He watches as she picks up his boss, Albert Bosworth, a young, entitled prick who has the body of an Olympian. And depending on the lore, with the arrogance and entitlement to match. He watches as the tears just leaves his eyes, not a sound leaving him, just his tears. He watches as they make out in the same car he bought Linda. From all the hours Albert made him work so that he could do so. He sees the cruel irony as he watches his loving wife give his boss eagerly give him a BJ in the same car he bought her, due to the hours his boss made him work. He then watches his boss screw his wife as she belittled Jason, calling out Albert's name. Screw me, baby. Oh God. You are so much better than my sorry piece of shit husband. Jason watches in shock and heartbreak as his wife climaxes with that piece of shit. He then watches as they mock him more before she drops him off and goes back home. He hears her talk to Albert before he leaves. I gotta do some make-up sex with my loser husband when I get home. The last thing I need is for him to have a spine and divorce me for this. Albert laughs and responds. You should leave what I left behind for him. Should serve the loser right. Both laugh and she responds. My God, you are so bad. I don't care about him, but I'm not going to make it that obvious, you jerk. Albert just shrugged his shoulders and kissed her again before leaving her car. Jason remembers that night. She did in fact have sex with him. Yes, he was angry, but he wanted to make up appearances. Not to mention he had not had sex nor pleasured himself in over 3 weeks, so in the end his urges won him over. Thinking back on it now, If he knew what had happened, he would kill them both. After what seems like forever, the video finally stops. When he is ready, he opens the door to call Andy back in. When Andy is inside his office, Jason then speaks in a robot format. I want you to begin the divorce papers. I also want you to begin taking legal actions against that prick who I worked under for over 4 years, while my promotions were rejected. I want all this, but I don't want them to be filed just yet. I want them ready, but not filed. I'm still waiting for the DNA result for my daughter. In the meantime, I want your man to follow and track everything that damn 304 is doing. Of more like who she is doing. If I find out that she is screwing someone else, we handle it accordingly. And add on the name of every wife-stealing bastard to the list that we are going to screw, just like they screwed up my marriage and destroyed my life. You have my full cooperation. Money is not an issue. When I'm ready, I will deliver her the divorce papers. You can send the other papers to Junior or anyone else. Andy did not say a word and nodded. This farce of a marriage is going to end. I do not want reconciliation. I don't care how much of a bleeding judge we get. I want them to have so much evidence against that bitch that they will need a shower after looking at her. Andy nodded again. Consider this done. For the next week, Andy and his office did exactly what Jason requested. They gathered more evidence and informed Jason with every update, every liaison, and every date and time. Jason began to learn not just the habits of his cheating wife, but her affair partner. Each day he looked at her, he fought the urge to throw up or strangle her on the spot. He would watch how kind and caring she was towards him, and how angry it made him, knowing that caring was anything but sincere. But despite it all, he waited. Every time she would give him a kiss, he would come with an excuse, or simply hug her. She was too full of herself to even notice. Finally, the day came. He had received the DNA results, but wanted to open it in front of Andy. Not really for legal reasons, but because he began to see Andy and Todd as friends at this point. And right now, he needed to be with people he could call friend. He made his way to the office and was greeted with a hug from Rebecca. Whatever happens, good luck, Jason. Jason smiled at that. Thank you, Rebecca, for all your help. He then went into Andy's office to meet him and Todd. Once inside, he hands the envelope to Andy and grants him permission to open it. Andy does as requested, and tears opened the envelope and read the results to Jason. Jason, I'm so sorry. She is not your child. If there was ever a time his heart broke, it was now. He knew there was a strong likelihood that Nicole was not his, but he still hung on to that hope. He loved that little girl, his little girl with all his heart. From the moment she was born to the moment he changed her first diaper, the moment he took her on her first day of school, the moment it was discovered she was a genius and wanted to work for NASA, he recalled all the kids in her position had lonely and unsocialized lives. And even though he knew that she would graduate a lot earlier than her peers, he wanted her to have as much a childhood as possible, and she loved him for it. He put all his heart and soul into loving and raising that little girl. So, when he heard the hard, cruel truth that she was not his, he had finally broke down. He cried, screamed, and cursed as much as his body would allow. His friends, his only friends, a private investigator, and a lawyer he did not know for longer than a month. They were his only friends at that point, and they held their friend. Rebecca heard the commotion from outside and saw Jason. She then hugged him too. And Jason just did the only thing she could do at that moment, shed his tears, and let out his pain. When Jason recovered, he just said 2 words, do it. Later in the day, Linda comes home. She just had amazing sex with Albert at the hotel downtown. She is still humming the tune from the background music, playing as Albert was screwing her brains out as she got in the house. She noticed it was dark inside despite it being midday. As she closed the door, she saw Jason, sitting in the living room love seat, just looking at her. This startled her as she saw him. Jesus, Jason, what are you doing there? For God's sake, you gave me a heart attack. Jason just sneered. Heart attack, huh? Does that not require to have an actual heart? Linda was taken aback by this response. She had never heard Jason talk like this. Where the hell did this come from? Jason stood up and stared at her. If looks could kill, her body would be butchered and mutilated. Seriously? You were asking me that? Tell you what, I'll give you time to figure it out. Linda looked at him confused. I don't know what you were talking about, or why you were acting like this, but you need to calm down and talk to me like an adult. At this point, Jason's patience ends, and he turns over the glass table with one hand. The act scares Linda into silence, and the look in Jason's eyes is not that far off from terrifying. Sit down, my wife. Without further argument, Linda sits down, as Jason turns on the TV. He shows her footage of her pleasuring his boss in the car. She is in shock when she sees this. She listens to every insult she calls her husband, every cruel act as she pleasures his boss. She watches as she screws his boss in the back seat of the cars like a hooker. When the video ends, Jason tosses a manila envelope at her feet. I want a divorce, and I want full custody of Nicole. Linda gasped, then got her ability to speak again. Absolutely not. Jason, I'm sorry, all right? But you will not walk away from this marriage due to a mistake I made. And you will not take my child away from me. We can work this out. And like a loving couple, we will do just that. Do you understand me? If you fight me on this, Jason, I will make your life a living hell. I will make you regret the day you were born. Do you understand me? I will fight this with every fiber of my being. I will. Linda stops when she sees Jason toss over another envelope. This is a restraining order. You will be allowed to pick up your things, minus my daughter. This is a court order, Linda. These are difficult to ignore and then work for your benefit. Linda is at a loss for words at this point. She looks at Jason, seeing his strong look of confidence. But it is more than that. She sees that he is tired. Tired of her lies and blatant disrespect. She knows that he will not bend on this, not this time. But she then becomes desperate. Suddenly, she takes a vase from the table. She strikes herself in the head. The move takes Jason off guard. A smile comes to her face. You hit me with a vase. A startled Jason responds. Are you crazy? You did that. That is not what the cops are going to believe. I just must give them a show with crying. Tell them my abusive husband has hit me with a vase and tried to kill me. Give them a sob story how he tried to kill me and my daughter. And I barely escaped with my life. Do you want a divorce? Not only will I not allow it, but I will ruin your life, you dumb shit. The divorce court will always side with me, because I'm a woman pure and simple, and you are the perfect scapegoat. So, one more chance is my loving husband. We forget this mistake took place. Seek marriage therapy, and you let me be the best wife you ever had. Morning BJs and all. Or I ruin your life, and the next time you see Nicole, it is when she is 18 at the prison visitor's room. Decide. Jason just looked at her, with no emotion on his face at all. Despite this, he felt utter disgust with the woman whom he had once loved. And with pure venom he answered, Go screw yourself, you inhuman bitch. Linda shows a scowl of outer contempt. Then, as if an actress on cue, she screams a blood-curdling scream. And with blood on her head and face due to the vase, she runs outside and creates a scene. Help me. Oh my God, help me, please. He is going to kill me. Oh God, please help me. She watches as one of the neighbors can see what is happening and pulls out her phone to call. Good. Not I can call the police on that bastard. She then calls the police, giving them her best performance. She tells them how Jason smashed a vase on her head due to her cheating that he caught, and how he threatened to kill her and her daughter. While she is on the phone, however, Jason calls Andy to the residence. Once he gets a hold of him, Andy advises him not to say a word. By the time Andy arrives, Jason is put in handcuffs, then placed in the police cruiser. As Jason sits in the back, he is thankful that Nicole is not here to see this. It would break her heart. He sees Linda crying up a storm for her performance, which honestly was quite convincing. When the officer was not looking, she would give him an evil smile. I told you, she would mouth off to him. Despite this, Jason was as calm as a cucumber. Just then, Jason saw the familiar car of a 1967 Chevy Impala. The way the occupants come out of it remind him of two heroes of his favorite TV show, and he allows a smile to form from his mouth. Todd and Andy arrive on scene and ask to speak to the police officer in charge. One officer is not trying to hear that. Get out of here, this is official police business. If you don't want to get arrested, beat it. Andy is not impressed, while Todd is trying his best not to laugh in the young but tall and muscular officer's face. I'm that man's lawyer, and I have evidence that can clear him of the charges that he has been accused of. The young officer was about to say something, but the sergeant on scene overheard that. Is that true? Andy and Todd confirmed. Yes, sir, it is. With our client's permission, we have recording devices in the house. In fact, our client and us have access to them in person. If you ask either of us, we can show you. With that, the sergeant escorted them to Jason. Once there, it showed Linda hitting herself with the vase, and Linda confessing that she would lie to send him to jail for her injuries. Linda can't hear what is happening, but her smug smile fades when she sees them take off the handcuffs. The young officer, clearly embarrassed, then angry when he looks at Linda. He and his sergeant make their way towards her. Ma'am, you are under arrest for making a false claim. As she was being read her Miranda rights, Linda was freaking out. What the hell are you doing? He hit me with a vase, damn it. Let me go. He should be the one in jail, damn it. She was eventually put in the patrol car, cursing up a storm. Resisting arrest added to her charges, including the ones Jason gave her. As Linda is being driven away, Nicole arrives home from school. Jason sees her, and now must have the hardest conversation he ever had in his life. Dad, why was Mom in that cop car? What is going on? Jason took a deep breath before he hugged his little girl. The girl who is not his daughter by blood, but his entirely. Sweetie, we need to talk. Once free from the drama outside, Jason walked his daughter into the living room and asked her to sit down. She knew her father well. He never does this. He is usually carefree, but now, he is as stoic as a rock. He sits down next to his daughter and holds her hand. Honey, I must tell you something, and you are not going to like it. Your mother and I have been having a lot of issues lately. Issues that are unfair to both you and me. She was in the cop car because she hurt herself and tried to blame me for that. Nicole had a surprised look on her face. Jason wanted to be careful. Nicole was a genius, but she was still a child. Dad, why would Mom do that? Jason took a breath. Because your mother cheated on me, honey. And we are divorcing as a result. Jason watched as the tears fieled down Nicole's eyes. But won't that mean I won't see you? You're my dad. Jason took another breath. Honey, that is something about which we also must talk. Nicole looked confused. What do you mean? Honey, your mom cheated on me before you were born. And as a result, I'm not your biological father. In other words, she lied to us both, honey. I know this is hard to understand, but Jason could not say anything as Nicole ran to him. No, don't say that. Don't say that you are not my daddy, please. Please, Dad, don't let me. I know Mommy hurt you, but I promise I won't. You are the only dad I have, and I love you. You were always there for me. Please don't leave me. I will do anything, just please don't go. Please. Jason burst into tears as he hugged her. He then brought her face to see him. Look at me, honey. You may not be my blood, but that does not change the fact that you are my daughter. No matter what, I will never leave you. You are my daughter regardless of blood or not. And I love you. You understand? Nicole did not need to hear anything else as she hugged her dad as tight as she could. I love you too, Dad. I love you too. And for the rest of the night, father and daughter gathered themselves and prepared for what would be the rest of their lives. Linda would have to spend the weekend in jail. She tried to call Albert, but he merely brushed her off, telling her it was her problem to deal with. Linda was devastated. The person she had fun with and thought she could build something with just dropped her as if she were nothing. It was not until she could see the judge the following Monday that she could pay bail. She then hired a lawyer. She had every intention of suing Jason and getting her daughter back. In the meantime, she was given an invitation to meet with Jason and his lawyer and advised to bring one as well. The meeting took place the following day, and with her lawyer she met Jason and Andy. Where is the other guy? Andy ignored the question. Mrs. Wynn, this is an offer. We ask that you drop the lawsuit, and for all custodial rights to Nicole. There will be no alimony or child support of any kind. The child will have a relationship with you if she so chooses, and all visits will be supervised. Linda laughed at that, in ways of insanity. Then she spoke up. Are you out of your mind? You must be smoking something serious if you think in your wildest dreams. You think I'm going for that, you loser. Jason and Andy did not show emotion, just played the same tape from the other day. Okay, so what? Yeah, I screwed him. And you know what, Jason? He is more of a man than you will ever be, you loser. He knows how to please a woman. Linda was getting up about to storm out when another video played. This one involving Albert's father. Wait, what? How did you? Soon another played involving Albert's and his father, screwing her at the same time. Another involving her with a group of unknown men, one including a woman in her 40s. The more it played, the more damaging her case. They then played footage of her hitting herself in the head with a vase and claimed to have Jason sent to prison and keep Nicole away from him. They even had more evidence of her bringing Albert to their own home, in their own bed. As more footage of her affairs player, her lawyer put her head in her hands in embarrassment. Then she was shocked, for she saw her own lover having sex with her client. At that point, she stormed out in tears, seeing her girlfriend with another woman. Linda was just dumbstruck with all that had happened. She was completely blitzed out of nowhere. 20 minutes later, another lawyer came into the room. Good afternoon. I will be replacing Ms. Winter's case due to, exceptional situations. I will be Mrs. Wynn's lawyer. I have been briefed and am fully aware of what is happening at this time. I will discuss things with my client as far as terms. Both Andy and Jason nodded. 3 minutes later, they came back. When they sat down, Linda had the look of defeat on her face. Her lawyer then spoke. What are you offering? Andy then spoke. We are offering her not having to go to jail. We will drop all charges, including paternal fraud. We will also have her corporation and pointing out the people she had sex with, and how long each liaison lasted. She will also take back her maiden name, Summers. Do this, she will not go to prison, and if the daughter is willing will allow supervised visitation, and that is if the daughter is willing. Linda looked up, then spoke to her lawyer's ear. He then spoke, agreed. With that, Andy had Linda sign the divorce papers, as well as legal contracts for the damages cases. The following weeks were a bloodbath of legal apportions. Business owners, school officials, public officials were all implicated in this sex scandal. It was not that Linda cheated, not even the fact she cheated a lot. It was who she cheated on. There was a shareholder from New York whom she engaged in a threesome with. There was a business associate that had pull in D.C., as well as a senator who was married, and of course there was Albert, which was bad enough, but his father as well. With the help of Andy, Jason sued all parties involved, crushing them to ruin. When it was over, Jason and his daughter would leave this behind with Linda, with over $100 million in damages with Albert and his father's company alone. When Albert heard the result of the ruling, he blew up. He immediately yelled at Jason and Andy, "You son of a bitch! Do you think you can do this for me? All because you could not please that 304 wife of yours? I'll kill you, bastard!" Suddenly, Albert ran for Jason. As if in a calm rage, Jason balled his fist. He dodged Albert's attempt to tackle him, but then punched his face as hard as he could with a strong right hook, putting his body weight in front of him. Albert lumped to the ground, broken nose and bleeding. Try seducing a married woman with that face now, you sack of shit. Jason was not charged due to Albert's actions. He was asked if he wanted to press charges. He agreed, and to add insult to injury, Albert was taken into police custody. His father, Joseph, looked directly at Andy during the whole thing, not lifting a single eye away from him. The following day, Jason is moving his furniture into the van. After everything that has happened, he wants to move away from this place that destroyed his family and disturbed the peace of his daughter and left his heart battered and broken. There were not a lot of things left in the home. At this point, he just had to put a single chair in the truck, and he would be fine. He placed the item inside and closed the door. He began clearing the house up with a few contractors who helped him with the move. He then was approached by one of the men. "Hey boss man, someone is here to see you." "Some lady, not sure what she wants. Name is Linda, ring any bells?" Jason said nothing, controlling his anger from simply hearing the name. It was not that she lied to him alone, but his little girl. She was a victim of this as well. He still hears her frantic cries and sees the tears in her eyes. Thinking she was going to be abandoned by him, he did not fault a man in his position for leaving children behind that was not his. He understood full well the betrayal, pain, anguish that would be for any man. But this was him and his little girl. From the moment he saw her come into this world screaming, he knew right then and there he would love and protect her. And he was damn well going to do just that. "It's not problem, Paul. I'll deal with it. Thank you for letting me know." He made his way to the front door to find a humble Linda. Gone was her most visual attire. She now wore only jean shorts and a t-shirt. She saw Jason and approached him. "Hello, Jason. Thank you for letting me." "Shut up," Jason told her in a hard, stern voice that made her blood run cold. "I do not care, nor I give a shit why you did what you did. You did it. I did not call you here to hear your bullshit reason for cheating on me and destroying this family. And make no mistake, you destroyed this family. I just want to know one thing." Linda's tears fell from her eyes as she heard Jason's words. She thought she had a chance, but clearly has a better chance of finding water in the desert than him taking her back. With tears in her eyes, she then asks, What is it? Who is Nicole's father?" The question surprised her, and Jason noticed. "Shocked, I see. Unlike you, I want to be honest with the people who I love. Nicole has a right to know where she came from. I will also need to know if there are any hereditary medical issues we will have to deal with. And if the day comes that she wants to know the truth, unlike you, I will not hide it from her." "So, who is he?" Linda looks down on the ground in shame. "Some guy named Jeff. I had a one-night stand with him when you left on a business trip. We had a big argument, and I saw him at the bar. We ended up at the hotel. When Nicole was born, I had a paternity test done. I knew then she wasn't yours. I was too scared to lose you. I loved you, Jason. I still do. No, Linda. You loved the security blanket marriage provided and took the chicken shit way out. Don't feed me that bullshit, Linda. You just don't want to be bothered to keep a marriage going." Jason just looked at Linda as she cried in shame and remorse. "I do not want you anywhere near me or Nicole. The only time that will even be possible is if she allows it. I may not be hers biologically, but I am her father. And with every fiber of my being, I will see to it that she is anything like you. You sorry selfish bitch. Jason then pulls out a letter to give Linda as she cries. She is not here, but with a friend before we leave. I asked her if she wanted you there. She said no. You will see the signature of your lawyer and mine that all bear witness to that on the top of the letter. Jason then back away from her. Goodbye, Linda. Linda looked at the envelope in her hand and went to her car to read it. She could not embarrass herself more than she already has in front of him. Once inside her car, she tore open the envelope and saw the lawyer's signature as Jason said. She then began to read. Dear Linda, yes, I'm aware that I called you your first name. I want you to know that I do not hate you. In fact, I still love you. You gave birth to me, and Dad raised me. But you did it because you feared Dad, or me for that matter, finding out the truth. That Dad is not my biological father. Do you have any idea how much it hurt me when Dad told me that? I may be a child, but as you know, stupid is the last thing I'm. But it wasn't just how I thought that the man who is, regardless of DNA, my father, would have to leave me, or the possibility that I would have to go into an orphanage, because there was no way I was going with you for what you'd done. It was seeing the pain in his eyes, seeing the love that he had for you burns to ash and how much it hurt him, and that I remind him of the pain that you gave him. I do not hate you, Linda, but I'm not ready to call you Mom. And to be honest, I'm not sure I ever will be. Please do not contact me. Dad says you can update your information and give it to his lawyer, Andy. That way I can contact you more easily or vice versa. Him being the middleman, of course. I heard how you hurt Dad, all of it. How could you do that to him? To us? I hope you find the help that you need, Linda. And despite this, somehow become a better person. Goodbye. By the time she read the last line of the letter, tears fell on the paper on which it was written. She cried and wailed, releasing all the pain she had caused herself, thinking back to all the sex she was having. She thought she was empowering herself, that she had some form of power. In the end, the only power that she had was the power to destroy her family. Her family was now gone, and all she had left was the shattered pieces that she made, a result of her actions. Elsewhere, a young woman is sitting in an integration room, except she is already serving a 5-year sentence for assault. She is one of the trustees in the female prison. She is a beautiful little thing at 5'1", a fit build yet has perky breast and a thick butt and waist. However, despite the beauty and stature, weakness is the last thing she is. He did come in on an assault charge after all, but now she is here. Called from the cell, she was told she had visitors. She is here now, but instead of in a visitor's room, she is in the chapel. Thought began to fill her head that something was wrong, that someone close to her has died. But those thoughts were dashed when she realized she was in the room by herself. Then the door opened. Through the door stepped 2 people. One was a white woman, standing at 5'7". Her hair was cut short, reaching the bottom of her ear. She was fit and lean, obviously trained. Despite the eye patch, she was beautiful. In fact, some would argue the eye patch added to her beauty. She was wearing a black blazer, with a white button-up shirt, black tactical pants, and shoes. The man beside her was a black man who was also well-built. His head was shaved, but he had a trimmed mustache and beard. He wore a black blazer with matching pants and casual dress shoes. He stood over 6 feet tall. Carmen looked at the two. Regardless of how good they both looked, she knew they were cops from their looks. The woman spoke. Hello, Carmen. I'm Ranger Robbins. This is Captain Davis. We want to talk to you about Wallen, but also Maxine Gullett. Carmen froze at those names. It was the sign both Rangers were looking for. They both watched as she played with her hands as she was sitting down. I don't know too much about her, other than she was on my book list until it happened. And as far as Wallen is concerned, he was a prick. But the guy had a compliant file on him a mile long. But everyone knows that. Robin took in the woman's look, noticing that she looked towards the floor. He got you too, didn't he? The question made Carmen shake a little. That is a yes, Robin thought to herself. Before coming down here, Robin made it a point to look into Wallen. Turns out he was a truly corrupted individual. She would track down the victims who would complain about him. Some were unfortunately lying, but there were others that had potential evidence that for whatever reason would not see the light of day. The Internal Affairs was about to make a case against him when said inmate suddenly committed suicide. To say he was a piece of shit was an understatement. Robin knew what Wallen was. She even had a feeling that with what she discovered about him based on evidence and character, he was one of the people who were a part of the sex ring scandal that rocked the area years ago. There was footage of someone who had a similar build, with an unusual tattoo on his left shoulder. When they looked at Wallen's body on the autopsy table, they noticed a burn mark on that same shoulder. A few of the victims made note of a tattoo of a humanoid-like wolf, drooling over a young woman in a Red Riding Hood outfit. Yet, Wallen had a red burn spot that looked healed, yet showed that something was once there. It is possible that he got away out of pure luck and secrecy. The man in the video always wore a make during his assault. Robin thought back to that day when Tim and the others saved Robin. Is it possible he just left before the attack? She shivers at the thought of that a-hole violating her friend in such a way. Robin knew exactly what he was, but she needed Carmen to say something to confirm it, to let out her pain and show she could trust her. Captain Xavier then pulled out a photo. It was one of 3 people in a comic convention. One was Carmen. She was wearing a Sisters of Battle armor costume. She was smiling with 2 people on each side of her. One was a white man, of slight fit build, standing at 5 feet 9 inches. He was wearing the costume of an officer named Sebastian Yarrick, a patch on his eye in all-industrial official attire, with a large claw-like arm made from styrofoam. The other person was a white female of average but lean build, standing at 5 foot 3 inches. She was wearing a Sisters of Battle costume as well, however. Hers was more revealing to the lore. According to lore, her costume was that of a disgraced Sister of Battle who must prove herself worthy of her armor to wear it again. The photo was tossed to Carmen. A tear escaped her eye, but it followed with a smile. We went to the convention 5 years ago when it came to the area. We met 1 year prior. I was a lesbian, no shame mind you. But that all changed when I met them. They had such a warm and loving vibe about them. They took me in and not only didn't take advantage of me, but befriended me, both. Until that friendship became something more. While they helped me deal with my trauma of my life, my lesbian but manages to fall in love with a man and his girlfriend at the same time. Funny how life works, I guess. We ended up becoming a tripod. As epic as the sex was, it was so much deeper than that, you know. Like when you recover from that mind-blowing climax, you turn and see the people that you know love and care about you right there. That you would do anything to protect them. You would fight the devil himself with a smile if need be, right? Carmen looked at the smile Robin gave. She then smiled as she gave one back as she wiped her tear away. Yeah, right. We became a tripod. 3 people are in a relationship with each other. And for the first time in years of my sad life, I was loved. We were not some hippies or sex freaks or anything like that. We had our disagreement, of course, but we were there for each other. That day of the picture, you can see I'm happy. It was because Sean finally got me and Regina tickets to the convention. We always had to go out of state, but this one was here. We are fans of Warhammer 40k. We were so happy that day. Carmen paused as a tear dropped. Some chick at the convention thought it would be a promising idea to just fondle Regina's tits, because she was a woman. Probably didn't help her when I punched her hard enough to knock her out and break her nose. A quiet laugh came from Robin. Good girl, she thought to herself. The first day I met Wallen, I knew what he was. Sick a-hole assaulted so many women on these side of the bars, it's not even funny. And anyone who reported it would just be punished by one of his sick pleasures. Sick a-hole even claimed he knew the former AG and could get away with it. Of course, for some reason when the sicko died, he wasn't just broken up, but realized he escaped something. But no one knew what. You ask me, I wish that whatever killed that sick scumbag killed him too. Well, that verify that claim. Robin thought to herself. I stayed clear of him for the past 5 years. Sure, I'm tough, but I'm not stupid. That a-hole was a mountain compared to me. One day I'm mopping the chow hall, and the a-hole approaches me. I put my foot on the mop and begin to twist my mop stick. I figure if this a-hole is going to take me, it will cost him a ball or 2. I still remember his cocky attitude. Relax, gorgeous, I'm not here to hurt you, but I do think you want to reconsider that mop handle. Besides, I could take you if I wanted to. I knew he was right, but I kept it ready all the same. Carmen took a sip of the soda that Robin offered before she continued. So, I asked him what he wanted. He then smiled. You work Southside detail for Book Run. Tomorrow you are going to another unit and work there for a while. I didn't know what he was planning, but I wanted nothing to do with it. I told him I'm going home in less than 2 months. Suddenly he took me by the neck at surprising speed. He then leans in closer and spoke. Listen very closely, you little bitch. You are going to do this, or I will spoil you for your weird degenerate lovebirds. I'll leave so many scars on you. You'll feel shame whenever you have a climax. But I won't stop there. Carmen then shed a tear before she continued. He had a handheld camera on him. The footage was that of our home. Wallen hid his face, but I knew it was him on the camera. It was small, but the picture was clear as day. I saw our living room. It looked the same as when I left it. When he went upstairs, he went to our bedroom. In it, it was Sean and Regina in our bed. They were both naked, so they had sex prior. He took shots of Regina's bare body, and he put gun to Sean's head, then went back to Regina and put a knife to her throat. I cried and begged that man. Yeah, me, the little badass who didn't take anyone's shit. Cried like a baby, begging him not to kill the people I love. I then agreed to his terms. For the next months, I worked on a book run detail in the unit he put me in. Until that day, she somehow got her brains blown out, while inside. I was terrified. I thought two things were going to happen. I was going to have more time, or I was going to be killed, since I was a liability. When neither happened, due to the asshat getting killed, I just stayed quiet. I did not know the friends he had. Yes, I could have reported it, but I could not risk getting my loves hurt. I did not give a shit about me, but not them. God no, not them. Carmen then broke down, her face in her hands. Robin then turns to her captain, as if asking a question, and he nods in return as if answering it. Carmen, let me just say I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and we have no intention of prosecuting or adding more charges to you. We only needed your help answering the questions, and you have done that, and for that we thank you. Carmen was speechless. She thought for sure they would want something more, or would even threaten her loved ones somehow if she did not cooperate. It did not matter. They were protected. Yet here these two were saying thank you, not making her sign anything showing she ratted. Carmen? Carmen's head then jolted up. Yes? Robin smiled. You are free next week from what your paperwork says. You and your loved one should check out the new restaurant Heaven's Fire Pit. Be the best barbecue you ever had. Think you coming home would be a good opportunity for you all. Carmen let a smile form as her tears were falling. I will do that. Thank you. As Robin and Xavier drove to their office, Robin broke the silence. So, we have a contract killer who somehow did not know about Carmen and her partners. Otherwise, she would be dead too. He must have been a pawn to get to Maxine. I'm willing to bet. Suddenly a gunshot rings out, hitting Xavier in the chest. Cap. Robins yells out as she tries to take control of the car, but it is no use. The car eventually misses a curb and rolls into the small ravine below. The car burns into flames, the explosion heard for miles. A lone, beautiful woman steps forward from the shadows, her sniper rifle on her shoulder. She approaches the cliff as a predator looking at her game. As she walks there, she speaks to herself out loud. It is such a shame I had to kill such a beautiful creature. The man I could care less about, although his body despite his age would have been a most excellent lover. But you, my dear, your reputation precedes you. 300 confirmed sniper kills while you were in service, and your marksmanship skills at legendary while you were in law enforcement. You stopped a hostage situation with a shot 50 yards away with a chrome Beretta M9. And that was with the loss of your eye. My God, I get so aroused thinking about it. But alas, I must depart you from this world. You beautiful creature. The woman walked closer to the edge, looking over it. She sees the charred body of the driver, Robin's body crushed beneath the other side of it. Au revoir, beautiful. I will send your husband to join you soon. Your children will be raised properly in our organization. Suddenly bullets entered the woman's body without mercy. Each shot was accurate and intentional. 2 bullets for both kneecaps. A bullet for the pelvic bone and another for the gut. The woman tried to aim her weapon, but was met with her trigger finger, then the remaining palm destroyed with well-placed shots. Her other hand went for her sidearm, only for that to be shot as well. The woman was shot a total of 7 times before her riddled body hit the ground. She heard footsteps coming toward her, but she could not move. When she saw who it was, shock and awe took her. My God, you are beautiful. Robin then raised her weapon. He was my best friend and father. Why? Robin asked the woman, who just smiled as blood stained her teeth. Because you and your man got close, beautiful. Too close for your own good. That family law investigation, or whatever, got some folks who were connected to other folks. And these folks are real. Scary. The woman suddenly raised her arm in blinding speed, with a string attached to her middle finger, a .22 caliber Derringer, small enough to fit in a palm. The woman's gun was already raised, but Robin was faster. With 1 bullet between the woman's eyes, it was over. No one is touching my family. Robin looked at the body of the woman, and then made her way to the cliff to see her friend and father figure below. Robin then cried her tears and made the call to dispatch, and gave them directions to this horrible night. The following weeks were a whirlwind of emotions. Robin went to the hospital. Despite jumping out of a falling car, her injuries were minor. Andy and the kids were there for her every step of the way. They were her rock. Despite losing the only father's figure she had left, Robin knew her family would anchor her, and she would need them now more than ever. Andy held her, and she held him as tight as they could hold each other. "I thought I lost you, baby." "No, baby. You and the kids are stuck with me a little longer." The kids followed suit, hugging Robin as tight as they could. Robin eventually recovered and wrote the report of her and Xavier's investigation. When it was time, Robin attended the funeral of her fallen captain. He had no family of his own, other than the Texas Rangers, and he was sent off properly. He was buried with full honors and buried next to her parents, because not only did they solve cases together, but they were the best of friends. Robin felt it was only right to have the friends reunite again. All who knew him, college, friend, coworker, and even known or former criminals who respected him attended. It was a testament to the love and respect Xavier Davis had. After the funeral, Robin was awarded the Commissioner's Medal of Valor for solving the case and terminating the threat that put public safety in danger, and for avenging Captain Xavier Davis. She would then be granted another surprise. She was promoted to lieutenant. Andy and the kids cheered for her in the audience. They were so proud of her. But they were also joined by people Robin did not expect to see. Susan and Todd attended the event as well, but so did more faces she had not seen for a while. Tim Kelly and his wife Janine were with Andy and the group as well, along with Mark, Patrick, and a little girl Robin had not recognized. A tear of pride came to her as she saw these faces she would call her family. She knew Xavier had now joined her parents, but she was reminded that her family was anything but gone. In fact, it would grow. A few weeks later, Robin set up her new office and headquarters. While unpacking, she noticed a picture. Tears fell as she smiled looking at them. It was a picture of her parents and Captain Davis. They were all in tactical gear and smiling. Despite the danger they were about to run into, they were smiling like they were going to a party. "Heh, I guess that's just who you guy was. I'm here because of you. Thank you." Robin kisses the picture and sets it up on her wall. Suddenly her phone goes off. She answers it. "Robin? It's Dan at the coroner's office. Can you meet me here now, please? I found something I want to show you." Without hesitation, Lieutenant Robbins made her way to the coroner's office. When she arrived, she was met by Dan at the front door. Robin liked Dan. People may have thought he was wired and cookie, but admired his passion for detail and willingness to help people. And he was the best in the county. "Thank you for coming on such sort of notice, Robin. I know it is late, but trust me, you want to hear and see this." They eventually arrived at the morgue, pulling out the body of the woman who killed Davis and tried to kill Robin. Robin then notices that even in death, the woman is beautiful. "Okay, Robin, we looked up anything to find out who this woman is, and we got nothing. Birthmarks, tattoos, nothing to give away. The body is due to be destroyed, since no one is claiming it." Then I recall a situation that happened in Hard Rock, Texas a few months back. They had some ladies with some kind of cyanide capsule in their necks. The capsules were some kind of insurance for this terrorist group that is anti-men in every sense of the word. They would see some kind of image, and they would smack the neck where the capsule was and die on the spot. My girlfriend was on the team that removed them. Dan then pulled out the same capsule. It was encased in a strong and struck hand case, so that it would not break. Robin, I never seen anything like this. So, I asked my girlfriend a favor and suddenly Dan's phone rang up. "Hello? Yeah, come on in the back. It is straight down the hallway to the elevators, then go down the basement level. We are right in front of the elevator doors." Dan then looked back at Robin. "I know that we don't do this often, but in the end, we are all law enforcement and want to catch the bad guys before we hurt someone. I think Maxine was going to make a deal, and the people who sent her after you had something to do with Maxine, and I figured we could use some help that dealt with this beforehand." Suddenly the door opened, and a man walked inside. He was about 6 foot high, with a muscular and lean build. He looked between 50 and 45, but looked like he could easily hurt someone. From the look of him alone, Robin could see he was military at some point, and with eye patch of his own, was no stranger to combat. The man spoke. "Hello, Lieutenant Robbins. I'm Sheriff Justine Miller of Hard Rock, Texas." He then tosses a capsule like the one Dan has to her. "I think we need to talk." Meanwhile, in a villa in Windsor of the UK, a woman in her mid-30s is moaning in ecstasy as a young muscular man is pleasuring her. Once she is over her climax, she brushes the young man away as if he is nothing. "That is all, Leo. I have no more use of you now. I will call you when I do. Now leave my sight." With a low bow, the young man leaves. Suddenly her antique phone goes off. A look of irritation on her face. "Is it done now?" the woman demands. "No, miss, but that is not all. Our sister has fallen. There was a pause. Say that again? Our sister has fallen. The issue she was to attend to has overwhelmed her. Nothing was said for 10 seconds. Then finally the woman throws a jar of brandy against the wall, causing it to shatter. God damn it. She was our best one. What caused this? What simpleton did this or made this happen? It was the issue, ma'am. The issue did this. Suddenly the woman was struck with fear. For she knew what the assassin she sent to kill Maxine, and that useful idiot Wallen was capable of. She knew of at least 200 kills under her belt. But to have someone kill her. As she listens, she heard in graphic detail how she died. From the first shot to the last. When it was over, the woman sat in her chair in shock, amazement, and fear. The fact that some Texas Ranger, a woman no less, killed the organization's best assassin. The woman then took a deep breath, then a sip of her glass of brandy she did not throw. She then spoke. It appears we have a new face that we have underestimated. Be it that is the case, we have no choice. Call the 4 horsemen. The woman on the other line gasped in shock. Them? You want me to call them? Surely there is another way. I think we can. I did not give you an order to think, damn it. I have given you an order to do it. Now do as you were told, or I will send you back to that shithole I saved you from. There was a pause. Yes, Lady Madeline, I will send word. Madeline sipped her drink before speaking. Very good, Claire. That will be all. She then hung up, looking where she threw the jar of brandy, and thought. She thought about why this happened and how this happened. But what she truly thought was how she was going to kill this woman and her entire family on principle. For no one dares stand in the way of the sisterhood and lives to tell the tale. For the new age is at hand, and all who stand in its way shall be cut down like the traitorous dogs they are. Madeline then gave an evil smile. This dance shall eventually meet its end, and I will be the one standing when it does. Dear listeners, Travis will be back with more tales of suspense. Meanwhile, please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.